I don't get a chance to come to Tennessee very often, living in Kansas, but when I come out here, I always do enjoy trying to explore around. And I've done a couple videos before in Tennessee, but today I'm excited to check out maybe some ghost towns or unincorporated communities. I don't know if they're ghost towns or not, but we'll explore around and find out. The first one we're gonna start in is a very historic place. This is Prospect, Tennessee. And we're in Giles County, and it's one of two places that claims to be the first settlement in the county. It's over 200 years old, and I'm not real, up to date on Tennessee history, but it was admitted to the United States in 1796 as a state. And early on in those days, they were still trying to create treaties with Native Americans. And so people couldn't settle in these areas right away. And so I think maybe 1806 is what I've read, was when people came here, although there's a sign that says circa 1800 on the welcome sign. So 1806 would be kind of in that ballpark, I guess. And so obviously it was an important place early in its days. And then other towns came along, and when, if this wasn't the county seat, being out here a little more in a remote area, there's going to be, less growth out here. But there's some cool things to see. And I don't know how old some of these buildings are, but there's kind of a main street over here, kind of at the bottom of the hill. It's a hilly area. That's something that's different from Kansas too. It's very hilly, but there's a strip of old buildings like a gas station and a couple other old buildings that I'm sure were important back in the day. Kind of a cool little street here. It's not necessarily called the main street, but I'm guessing maybe in one day it was one of the main streets. But yeah, it's got some old buildings, got a old church, and some different things to see. We're still in Giles County for our next community of Campbellsville, and there's still people living here. I mean, I don't know how many people because it's unincorporated, so you really don't know. They don't have the town boundaries, and so anything that's unincorporated could be heading towards, significant ghost town status. But this is a pretty interesting one to visit. The last one, we talked about maybe starting in 1806. There's a sign here in the middle of town that says 1808 for Campbellsville, so that is helpful to know when this town started. So early town in this area, one of the first towns. And I read online that, around the beginning of the Civil War, there was 150, 200 people living here. They had a hotel, they had a mill, or a couple of mills, I think. And then there was a battle here during the Civil War. And it in the middle of town actually has a historical little marker that talks about that. And pretty nicely done, tells the story. It says, like, this far over here on your right, this is what happened. On your left, this is what happened. And so that's pretty neat when they tell you about that. And you can kind of visualize, the landscape of what would have been happening between the North and the South battling here in little old Campbellsville, Tennessee. There's a couple churches. There are people that live here, so It's not totally, like I said, it's not totally empty, but it is remote. So that's why, it's unincorporated and probably getting smaller with each passing generation. A couple of interesting things. They have a Dollar General here. I've never seen a community so small with a store like that. And it's right next to the Stop and Chat store, convenience store, gas station. So I'm guessing there's some local rivalry there between where do you stop and get your stuff. So I would say go to the Stop and Chat. That's the local one, obviously. Also along the main street, they have a little, like creek along the road, and they have these little bridges to everybody's houses, and that's pretty cool looking. So yeah, pretty interesting place to come and visit. We're almost to our final town today. That's the Natchez Trace Parkway up there. It's a historic road I definitely want to do someday, but we're a couple miles from our next town, but I thought I'd stop and check out this. This brick home of Captain John Gordon and his family was built in 1818. It was a landmark for travelers of the old Trace, letting them know that they would soon be in Nashville, Tennessee, where simple human comforts could be found after weeks of walking on the rustic trail. A nearby ferry, about a 10-minute walk from here, provided a safe way for travelers to cross the Duck River, and the grounds provided boatmen on their way home a place to sleep for the night. And we are now to our final town. It's Shady Grove, or possibly Duck River. It's one of those two. On my map, on my Gazetteer map, it says Shady Grove. On Google Maps, it says Duck River. And it has both those names within the community. The churches are named Shady Grove. The community center is Shady Grove. The store is named Duck River. So I'm guessing that maybe, that store has taken the name of the community at some level, but officially Shady Grove seems to be the town name. But interesting. It's very, very quiet. You can hear dogs barking, occasional car passing by, but it's just very peaceful, and it's very beautiful. I haven't mentioned that as much in the last couple towns, but driving to these towns is just spectacularly beautiful. Rolling hills, I'm guessing in the fall, it's really beautiful driving through these parts of this part of Tennessee, and the histories of these areas are pretty unique as well. Hopefully you have enjoyed this tour of a few towns here in Tennessee definitely makes me want to come back and explore some more. Well, our adventure is going to go just a little bit farther. Was driving down this road because I saw there was a cemetery on Google Maps and then couldn't find it. And then there was a old farmer walking down the road and he told me, yeah, you can go through this fence and check it out. Just walk down the way. And said, by the way, there's another cemetery at the end of this road. It's a dead end. He goes, oh, by the way, if you're interested in cemeteries, up by the trace, there's another one. So he gave me directions to that. So we're going to check out a couple cemeteries here at the end. And his last name was Shelby, and this is Shelby Road because this is, you know, their farm, probably for generations. So pretty cool. Huh. Interesting. I'm guessing this is it. It's called the George Brown Church Cemetery. I thought it might be like a church, but actually their last name was Church. We found a couple headstones, but doesn't mean there aren't more people buried here. After checking out that first cemetery, I continued on down this dead-end road. I definitely would not have gone down this far down the road if I wouldn't have been given permission by the farmer. But there's a couple of hay bales on the front porch of the house right there. You don't see that very often. Very beautiful, very secluded, very quiet area as I made my way back to the cemetery. $1878 it appears. 73 maybe? 73. And this is actually right next to the cemetery. And we're just a little ways down the road. That's the Natchez Trace, that bridge that goes across the water. We're heading to our next cemetery. Another dead-end road, of which I definitely would not have driven down if I didn't know there was a cemetery down this way. So another very beautiful drive. It'd really be cool to see these areas in the fall where all the trees are fully green, but still a beautiful area to drive back nonetheless. So I come over here to the cemetery and meet another farmer. I guess they don't get too many visitors to these cemeteries, and told me some crazy stories. I mean, this is a pretty historic place. First of all, Andrew Jackson crossed over the river right here, and they called it Hell's Half Acre is what he said. And that's it's a fairly common term. You've heard a lot of those names for different places that basically were just lawless. And I guess right here where this farmer lives now, he said he has 400 acres, he owns all this. And he said that, it was just, I guess, wild times. And this is where Andrew Jackson once crossed kind of famously. And that this Mormon cemetery, so there was, and I said, was there a lot of Mormons that lived here? And he's like, no, there wasn't any. And I go, really? He's like, yeah. So I guess there were a few Mormons and they tried to settle here and the locals didn't like it. So they took them to the county line, he said. Maybe so it didn't happen in this county. Took them to the county line and just killed them. And so I don't think that these maybe are the headstones. I was a little confused. I'm not sure if these are the headstones or not. There's no internet service. I can't like be searching for what happened here, but yeah, it's kind of wild stuff. But he says there are Mormons that come here from time to time and they have, you know, ceremony or recognition or something here. So remarkable. Glad that I kind of continued on down the dirt road and met the locals, and they gave me some more stuff to see. So anyways, now this is going to be the end of the video. Hope you have enjoyed my time in Tennessee. I can't wait to come back again someday. Thanks for making it all the way to the end of that video. And now that you're here, let me tell you a little bit about some of the extras that we have on the channel. One of the things you can do is you can become a member. There's 3 levels. There's the supporter level, there's the producer level, and the executive producer level. And all 3 levels have different perks, and as you are more supportive financially, there's more perks. We have extra videos every week and a lot of fun stuff going on in the member section. If you haven't done so, make sure you check out travelwithawiseguy.com. We've got lots of extra stuff on there, and one of the things is merchandise. You can get you Travel with a Wise Guy t-shirt. We have Death Go Round t-shirts. We have some coffee mugs, different things that are a lot of fun, and people seem to have enjoyed. Good quality there. Also on the website, you can do things like check out the Google map. I have a pin dropped in every place I've done videos about, then a link to the video so you can look at the map, and maybe there's somewhere where you live or somewhere you want to go. You can check out that map, and it seemed to be a very popular thing. You can sign up for my newsletter. I do that about every 3 weeks. It's totally free. And there's also all kinds of other links and tidbits in there, old videos, podcasts, just everything I could think of I throw on the website. So make sure you check out travelwithawiseguy.com. Thank you for everyone who has been supportive of this channel, and thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. And now for the reason you're probably here, the outtakes.
Hey. Hi. Hey, buddy.
So I asked this old farmer, I said, so why did they kill the Mormons? And he goes, 'cause they's Mormons. I'm like, dang. He just said it right, like, 'cause they's Mormons. That's why they killed him.